Welcome into this OKPreps Coach's Corner. I'm Michael Knight, sitting here with Millwood head coach Darwin Franklin. Coach, thanks for sitting down with me this afternoon. Let's get ready for the 2019 football season. It's going to be a little different this year for Millwood after coming into the season the last 2 years as defending champs, winning back-to-back titles, 2016, 2017. You fall in the playoffs last year. How has this offseason been different compared to the last few that you've been through as defending champs?
It hasn't been different. We approach it the same way, regardless of how the season ends. Of course, you want it to end on a good note, which it didn't exactly how we wanted it to be, but everything is perfect. So it gives the guys a chance to lock back in and get focused, and we just went about business as usual.
How did you guys handle last season with, all the talk around Millwood, back-to-back champs, perfect seasons as well, that undefeated record that you guys had. You opened with a huge game against Heritage Hall. You get the win there. And then, look, all eyes were on Millwood last year. How did your guys react to that, respond to that? And how did they ultimately handle losing early on in the playoffs to a really good Vian team?
As a staff, one thing we try to really focus on is never letting our highs be too high and our lows too low. So with all the good that went on, we understood that was just in the moment, that we had to get one step better every day as we went through it. And while the season didn't end how we wanted it to, those senior guys that left, they left with a lot of memories. So from that standpoint, it was a good blessing. But then from the other standpoint of exiting second round, it was good for our juniors and those younger kids who hadn't experienced a loss. They didn't know what it felt like. So
right, yeah.
For them to get a taste of it, it was good. It was good to get up Saturday morning after a loss like that and see kids on the field running on their own, realizing that everything we have been talking about can happen. In a different set of circumstances, you can lose. So they experienced it. It is what it is. It's happened. Does it sting? Yeah, but you move on. Hopefully God wakes you up to see the sunlight and you can move on. And that happened. So you deal with it and keep going.
You mentioned some of the seniors that you have to replace. Daniel Howard, a huge part of what Millwood has done the last several years, not just last year. And then, of course, a guy everybody around Oklahoma was talking about, Marcus Major, standout running back, now at the University of Oklahoma. And there are plenty of other guys that have to be replaced as well. How do you go about, I'm sure there isn't just a one guy that you can utilize to replace a Marcus Major, a Daniel Howard. No. How do you go about trying to replace that kind of production?
It's cliche, you hear Golden State say it's strength in numbers and all that kind of stuff. But we're a team first, so we don't have one or two guys that can replace anybody. Everybody is unique and special in their own right, and so the guys that have left, we thanked them and we praised them and we're happy for them to sign and go to college. And now it's another group of guys that come in and we say, if you can play and you're a freshman, play. You don't have to be a senior in order to get out there and help us do what we need to do. But we don't focus on one person. It's by committee. The biggest thing we say is to be team first. And it's team over talent, and you service the team no matter what. And the only stats we worry about is wins and losses. We don't worry about individual stuff. It's keep our head down, keep blinders on, stay focused on what you're trying to do each and every day. And if you do that, hopefully by the end of it, it'll take care of itself.
You mentioned something earlier that I thought was interesting, and I hadn't even thought about it as well. Your junior class last year, they hadn't experienced loss. They didn't know what it meant to fall short on a Friday night, and that's what happened last year in the playoffs. How you mentioned seeing them immediately bounce back. As a coach, are you able to use that as much, a more motivating factor in the off season? You know, when guys are like, I don't really want to run today, I don't want to work out today. You're like, okay, well, do you want to lose again in or, you know, early on in the playoffs?
Well, the unique thing about it is now 3/4 of your program has experienced one of the most stinging losses in 4 years.
Right. Yeah.
So now the only ones that don't know are the freshmen, and they got a chance to watch, which is unique also by having our middle school there. Those middle school guys were able to see it firsthand and know that this can happen. So everybody's felt the sting. Do we say things about it? Yes. Do we harp on it? No. What we really harp on is being better young men and young ladies in the program daily. And I think that transcends the athletic part of it, is just being better people. You know, so we focus on the person, focus on who we want them to be after all of this is over. That's more important than what they're doing just in that moment.
All right, let's put 2018 in the rear view.
Yeah.
Enough talk about that. Let's talk about 2019. I'm assuming you guys are going to be kicking off the season again with Heritage Hall.
Yes.
I'm sure that was a home and home type deal.
Yep.
So week 0, week 1, you're on the road against Heritage Hall. Obviously a big test for your group with one of the best teams in the state regardless of class, and both programs really, 2 of the best programs regardless of class in Oklahoma. Talk about this season, the guys that you do have coming back, and what we can expect from the 2019 Millwood Falcons.
A refocus is what you can expect. Just lock back in. You know, we have several seniors that are coming back: Perry Lewis, Harold Bagby, Evan Richmond, Miles Wooten, who, you know, they did what they needed to do during the season to help out, and they've done a great job during the summer. We've had additions, Jaden Mullen, who's moved into the district about second semester, and he's came in and bought in everything we do. Just trying to do things the right way, a certain way, a Falcon way, and set high expectations. And then you have a line that we really graduated 1 last year. So that's a big plus. And then young guys coming up and going to team camps and 7-on-7s and just doing one of those, but really working hard during the summertime to get ready for it. That's when the majority of your work is done. And then once you get on the field, just expect us to try to stay the course. Just do things the same way that we've been trying to do things the right way. Not be focused on December, not worry about that. The most important game right now for us is Heritage Hall. You know, where we'll scrimmage Plainview, which is another great team,
right,
and then we go and scrimmage Ada and Piedmont. And so we scrimmage them, and then you turn around and you got Heritage Hall, and then of course you got Douglas, and then you got coming up here and going to Cassia Hall. So it's not a fluff schedule right there at the beginning,
right.
But we don't want it to be. We need to know who we are, try to establish what our identity is, who can do what, and then move on from there.
It's not a surprise that the teams that you know historically have difficult non-district schedules are usually those teams that make deeper runs into the playoffs, regardless of class. You see teams that aren't afraid to play higher class teams. You see teams that aren't afraid to go out of state and play, you know,
right.
really good teams. And it's not a coincidence, in my opinion, that those teams are generally state championship contenders because they challenge themselves early on. It's one thing I've always appreciated about you and the Millwood program the last couple of years. You guys aren't afraid of anybody. You're not afraid to play anybody on a Friday night.
No, the staff is intense. We pride ourselves on, hey, we're not going to cow down to nobody. We want the challenge. We want to rise to that expectation. Our guys want it. We compete in everything, you know. So even spring, in our spring camp, team camp, we went to Choctaw, and it was Enid and I want to make sure I say the right names. I don't want to disrespect them. Choctaw, Enid Starr, Edmond North. You know, we got after it. You know? So I think it was Broken Bow. Man, it was just we just mixed it up for 2 days and had fun and see where we lined up to it. And in day 1, the players wasn't happy with how they did. They competed well, did very well.
Right.
But day 2, they came in and said, hey, our standard, we didn't establish a standard. We don't want anybody to score on us. And if we give up more than 21, we got up downs. And if we don't score 21, we got up downs.
Awesome.
So they set a tone, and we was like, okay, now you're starting to get it. So we just set goals, set expectations, and embrace the grind.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Appreciate it.
I always enjoy talking with you, whether it's in person, on the phone. I know you joined me a lot on our various podcasts last season. I'm sure that will remain the same as Millwood. Once again, one of the top teams in the state of Oklahoma. Coach, thanks so much for your time.
Appreciate it.
And good luck this season.
Thank you.
For Coach Franklin, I'm Michael Knight, and this has been another one-on-one session here with the OKPreps Coach's Corner.